Hello everyone, I'm Travis Brock, your guest host for today's Higher Ed Live. I am Director of Business Development and Social Media at Educational Marketing Group. I handle EMG's social media and email outreach. Many of you may recognize me as Carrot TV on EMG's social media sites. I also direct EMG's blog, e-newsletter, the EMG Brand Bounce, as well as the annual International Brand Master Competition. I'd like to thank Higher Ed Live for this opportunity. You can tune into Higher Ed Live regularly on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. on higheredlive.com and join in the conversations using the Higher Ed Live hashtag on Twitter. Today's is a special roundtable discussion with previous participants of the International Brand Master Award and accomplished education branding professionals. Joining me today is Jason Cook, the 2012 International Brand Master and Senior Associate Athletics Director at Texas A&M. Claudia Jackson, a 2011 award finalist and Executive Director of Community and Legislative Happenings at Del Mar College.
They are happenings.
They are happening. Daniel Koffler, a 2012 nominee and President, Executive Director of New Frontiers at New Frontiers in Learning. And Kevin Grout, a 2012 Judge and Manager of Student Marketing and Communications at the University of Victoria. Before today's guests are fully introduced, or they introduce themselves, I'd like to give a few shout-outs to our sponsors. Omni Update is the leading web content management system provider for higher education. The company's web CMS, OU Campus, is secure and scalable with great details and features, deployment flexibility, and an awesome user community. Check out the article by Tarrant County College and the Community College Week Fall Tech Supplement on their mobile web app using Omni Update's CMS. That's always a handful. And then we have Higher Ed Live is also sponsored by Uversity, formerly Integral, the creators of the Schools app, a private Facebook community to boost enrollment and retention. Check out their blog, Uversity Roundtable, for posts on admissions marketing, student engagement, and social media in higher education. We're tweeting the link to the blog now. Okay, so a little background into the International Brand Master Award. These are a handful of participants from the previous 4 years of the International Brand Master Award. Each year, since 2009, EMG goes through a 5-month process searching for the best education branding professional in the world. From October to December, peers and colleagues nominate possible candidates for the award and provide a little background about the nominee. Over the years, nominations have come from Scotland, Belgium, Netherlands, Australia, England, Canada, and of course the United States. Last year, we received a total of 15 nominations. From December to January, nominees are asked to respond to numerous questions about their brand strategy, tactics, and results, as well as provide letters of support from their fellow colleagues, and have come from university presidents, coworkers, and from members of Congress. Around the end of January, the nominees' supporting information is reviewed and sorted by a blue ribbon panel of 6 highly experienced branding professionals, typically around the end of January. Judges have come from the United States, Norway, England, Canada, Australia, and Ireland. And as soon as I can scroll down, I can give you the rest of the spiel here. Okay, so my Google Docs is freezing up and I can't really see what I'm supposed to be saying right now. But after the judges score the materials, the 3 top scoring finalists are named, or the 3 top scoring nominees are listed, and from there they go on to the public scoring session, where their judges are voted on by their by their peers. And last year, we received over 3,700 votes from the public and from the stakeholders of the 3 finalists. So that's a few. Over the last 4 years total, we've had over 6,000 votes. I hope you can hear me because my computer is not loving me at all today.
Yeah, you're breaking it.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go right into the I'm going to go ahead and mention just really quickly that we do have the nominations open for the 2013 International Brand Master Award. You can view that on the emgonline.com website. It's the www.emgonline.com, and the nominations close on December 13th, 2013. So you still have a little bit of time, but we've already received several nominations. So go ahead and if you don't nominate, you're not going to be able to find out if you're the next international award. So I'm going to go ahead and ask that we have our highly experienced panel of nominees and finalists and judges from the International Brand Master Award and winners, excuse me, here with us today. So I'm going to start with Jason Cook, the 2012 International Brand Master, to briefly introduce himself and also answer the first question of the day, which is, what does branding and education mean to you?
Well, thanks, Travis, for the opportunity to be with everyone today. And, you know, for me, my career, even though I'm in athletics right now, I kind of started up through higher education. I served as a vice president of marketing and communications here at Texas A&M for a little bit over 5 years. And we had what we termed a one brand approach on our campus. And I think you'll see across higher education, a lot of brands are fragmented, but we were able to solidify our entire campus behind one brand, one graphic identity, regardless whether it's a College of Engineering or a football team, to get everyone on the same page. And then I had a key role in a delivery of a content marketing strategy for our entire university with over 50,000 students. And also had a little bit of fun in the process. Played a role in Texas A&M's conference transition from the Big 12 athletic conference to the Southeastern Conference, and then had a Heisman Trophy winner in the mix who's also there this season as well. So a lot of fun, a lot of great things we're doing here at Texas A&M. But to answer your question from branding in an organizational standpoint, you know, I always like to say that we're competing for the hearts and the minds of 18-year-olds and 21-year-olds on our campus. And when you're in the competitive marketplace, we're competing against other higher education institutions, but we're also competing with corporate brands, whether it's an Apple or a Barnes & Noble or Coca-Cola. So we've got to adopt a lot of corporate branding in higher education if we want our messages to be relevant and we want them to be received and have an opportunity to engage in our key audiences.
Thank you, Jason. We're going to go ahead and go to introducing Claudia Jackson, the 2011 finalist from Del Mar College.
Hi, Travis. Yes, I think we understand, even though Del Mar College is a community college in Corpus Christi, Texas, and primarily we serve our region, which is about 5 counties, it is important that our brand be recognized outside of that arena, saturated within that arena, because we've got to maximize whatever market share we have in our local area, since there happen to be 2 branches of A&M within 20 miles of my campus, and we do very well when we start talking about how individuals choose their next career or education move. But it's also important that when you talk about legislators or donors and individuals whose scope may be outside of the Corpus Christi region, that they recognize Del Mar College as an important brand. Just a little bit about my introduction. I've been here since I was originally hired as the first public information director for Del Mar College, and that meant I was supposed to edit the catalog and put out a couple of news releases. And now we've got a staff of 10, and we do our cable television. We handle legislative relations, and we were even the seed corn, if you will, for starting our development and fundraising efforts a number of years ago. So we've kind of, at each step of the turn, added another phase of what would be considered educational advancement and brand marketing to the mix. And I want to give a shout out to the man behind the curtain. Jay, stick your head over here, will you?
Right there.
Or at least his hand. He's helping me with some of my technology. So, what is brand? Is it relevant today? I'm going to do a little looking back, if you don't mind. I was at a breakfast meeting this morning, and the original land grant deed that turned several hundred acres of North Padre Island, which is Corpus Christi's the home of North Padre Island, over to open for public beaches in perpetuity. That grant was done in the 1940s. At that time, they were making restrictions on whether or not there could be brand messages on that stretch of beach. But they said no brand messages, and even back then it was important to understand the importance of branding and where it's appropriate, where it's not. But in the fine print, it talked about, even though there was a limit on branding, that whatever happened with this public beach area, you had to be allowed to sell hot and cold beverages and Fritos by name in the 1940s, Fritos. And I would just submit that branding is as important now as it was in the 1940s. Made up of 4 components: corn, corn oil, salt, and branding. If they hadn't gotten their brand out there very, very early, it's a good chance we wouldn't know what a Frito was today.
Thank you, Claudia. And I definitely use some now with my stinking computer. I'm going to move on to Kevin Grout. He is the judge from the 2012 round of the International Brandmaster Awards. So, Kevin, if you could give an intro, and what does branding and educational organization to you?
Yeah, thanks for having me here this morning. It's great to be part of this incredible panel, and glad we got some of the technical issues worked out. For me, I've been here at the University of Victoria, which is in British Columbia, Canada. We are a school of about 20,000 on the west coast of Canada, and it's I've been here for just the past 8 months, and getting to really understand the culture here. Coming from another school where I was at for almost 10 years, so it's been definitely an interesting transition for me. For myself, branding in higher education, I think, is still very essential, and it's not just coming from a marketing perspective, from a marketer, it's not just about the marketing, about the visual. For me, it really permeates through the entire organization, and really in the past few months and the past couple of years, really determined that we need to look at outside of just the marketing, the visual, and really look through the organization to see how we can impact change, so that the brand really does live and exist for everybody in the organization. So definitely a big piece for me moving forward. And I don't know if Travis is still there. Did we lose Travis? I mean, I'm happy to keep talking, but who haven't we heard from yet?
Daniel?
Daniel? Daniel, I'll take over moderation from here. Why don't you introduce yourself and give us a little bit of background as well?
Yeah, sure. So Daniel Koppler, I've been in the field of education, and specifically on the marketing end of educational institutions, for the better part of a decade. So my experience is actually somewhat different from the rest of the members of the panel, which I think hopefully will add a different flavor and a different perspective. My background is primarily in special education and in K-12, for that matter. So I was a nominee last year under a different organization that I used to run, which was a network of K-12 special education schools. I began a new business about 20 months ago called New Frontiers in Learning, which is a supplemental support program to students in high school and college So we provide academic and social support to students with learning disabilities and executive functioning issues who are cognitively able. They have the minds and the ability to do the work. They get themselves into school. On paper, they look great to the admissions department, or good enough, certainly. But without that safety net, providing check-ins and helping with some academic tutoring, and not just what most accommodations offices offer, but generally they need a more involved support. We step in that role, and we're working with high school students as well, because we're finding that the transition to college is a significant one, and it's meaningful to start that transition earlier, just for the betterment of the process and for the student's success. So as I'm building this brand, I'm building it from scratch. A company didn't exist 2 years ago. So with that in mind, to answer the question, to us, culture is critical. We work directly, one-on-one directly with young students and with families who have been challenged over the years with various roadblocks in their educational success. So it's important for our staff to both have that very specific expertise educationally and on a college campus, understanding what is going to be required of students in the college environment, but also being able to relate, if you will, to the student's experience and speak to them on their level, and I'll ultimately help them be able to ask the right questions of the people who they need to ask, know when to ask the right question. That's kind of what we're looking to do. So putting that out there so that's just by way of introduction. In terms of how it impacts the branding, I mentioned culture. For us, setting the right tone with our referral sources, so that's high school, college guidance counselors, accommodations offices at universities, parents, clinicians of the referral sources. It's important that they understand that what we do is serious work. We take it very seriously, but we're informal in our style with students, which I think helps them kind of, again, relate to us. We think locally more than we do kind of globally. We try to work with folks individually and kind of in person. So it's important for us to understand who our catchment referral sources would be on a local level. We do travel. We've been to the Massachusetts area. We're going to D.C. later today, actually, for a number of conferences. So we are putting the word out there to others, because we can certainly work with people, via correspondence, via technology such as this. But for us, it's really important to be local and to develop our brand locally, specifically, and then we can let the quality of the product speak for itself as we branch out.
Thank you, Daniel and Kevin. We're going to go ahead and skip ahead in our list of questions that we have available for you. And if I think I got cut off with some of the intros with the technical issues, but if anybody listening in today has any questions, be sure to chime in on the hashtag HireEdLive, and we'll be sure to get to your questions as well. In terms of resources, I know lately things with the recession and many of the economic issues going on in today's world, especially with some of the slight recovery that we had, or that's debatable to some people, but how can you ensure enough resources to implement an effective marketing campaign? And we'll go ahead and start with Claudia on this one.
I think the important thing, Travis and our audience, is results. Here in Texas, we're becoming much every day tied to the results that we can produce. Success-based funding, from as far as our state funding, is going to be the new model, and I think that works for branders too. I don't know how many times there's been a challenge that's come down the pike, and whoever was my leader at the time, my supervisor, would say, "Is this something you can do?" And my answer is usually, "Sure, no problem." And you know what stress is, don't you? When your mouth says no problem and your gut says no way. But you figure out how to on that need, and once you've been able to show, whether it's starting a foundation or whether it's starting a cable television network, or whether it's taking on messaging to the legislature, every time a new thing comes up that would fit under the umbrella of advancement, and you can go forward and say, yes, I can do that, yes, my team and I can do that, and get your message out, because advancement is all about having a good story to tell matching it to your audience, and telling it effectively in whatever venue you have. So the other thing that's been very helpful to me, and I'm gonna bounce back to EMG, is having data where you can really compare yourself, your institution, to peer institutions. The major universities, Jason's and some others, probably have an easier way to compare the dollars coming into their organizations and the results they get, the students they get, the dollars they get, and those kind of things. Community colleges are so locally focused, we don't really have those kind of peer groups to compare to that granularly, but we reached out to EMG and they helped us find some of those pieces so we could make a case for some additional funding.
Absolutely. A lot of work with Del Mar College. Claudia is one of the few, but surely the last of the some of our clients that EMG itself has worked with in the realm of full disclosure to everyone. But the general is unbiased because they're all volunteers. But for the International Brandmaster Award, but going to the fact that the data that we pulled together for Del Mar College was so granular that we did go for the look for where we could get the best results from. So I'm going to go ahead with that and move on to Kevin. Kevin, are you there?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So as far as building the team and resources, I very much agree with what Claudia said. From my perspective, the data doesn't lie, and if you can have data to support your case, it is amazing. But it's really a matter of positioning as well, and she addressed this also, that it's really a matter of knowing who your key competitors are. I mean, higher education is a competitive environment, and I know a lot of times those in academia don't like to maybe address this point, but you really need to understand who your demographic is, who your audience is, what role and position your institution can play. And I mean, the institutions that aren't doing that are not going to thrive or even move forward. I mean, it's such a challenge in this kind of competitive environment that we're in now, that you've got a position. And so if you can build that case, that you're able to help move the institution forward, that's really the best, one of the best strategies that you can take with you.
Thank you, Kevin. Daniel?
Yeah, I have to echo Kevin's point. Knowing your market and positioning yourself appropriately is, without that, all the data in the world isn't going to help you because you're not knowing which direction to point in. For us, it's a little different. We're a private organization and a small one. So, I manage the marketing budget. I manage the entire budget for the entire organization. My background is in marketing, so I find that it's critical. I think that it never ends. But we also like to look at things. It's not so much a function of what's happening in the world. We'll double down essentially in times of thin budgets. We're not going to trim back on marketing budget. We'll trim back on something else if that's what's going to be the decision we have to make. But we also like to use a lot of free resources. Social media is critical to our success. Old-fashioned networking is a big deal. These are kind of low-hanging fruit suggestions, but they still work. We've done a lot locally with LinkedIn and with Twitter. Just finding new resources and getting a chance to meet with them face-to-face. To me, that's still the ultimate indication of someone's interest. It's easy to send an email to somebody or to put information out to the internet, but to be able to get somebody in front of you and make your pitch looking them eye to eye, I think it helps me feel comfortable using them as a resource in the future, and vice versa. I'd imagine the same. So that's kind of the way that we approach it. But budgets, from a budgetary perspective, we don't make adjustments for lean times. We're going to continue to increase our marketing budget as we go forward, because without that we have no ability to reach our market.
Thank you. And Jason?
Yeah, I think that one thing is in higher ed, we tend to look at resources and budgets as what's only in our respective organizational group or our budget line item budget there. And I think that in higher ed, it truly is a community. And I think that you really have to look outside of your own group and look at resources that exist across your organization and how you can develop ambassadors to help you in your cause. And that even goes outside the organization too. You know, I'll give an example that we launched a big billboard campaign, and we didn't have the necessary resources to really have this campaign from a full standpoint across the state. So we did an alumni search, found out that one of the VPs for a major outdoor company had a degree from Texas A&M, and we were able to reach out to him directly, and he helped us reach our marketing goals with little to no cost there. So I think it's always important. So when you're talking about resources, we're all constrained. As marketers, we always need and want more money. But I think that you need to pull from outside of your own little group and see how you can get people on board to help you out, not only from a personal resources standpoint, but financial as well.
Yeah, we all wish we could have a money tree growing in the quad, right?
Yeah, you're right.
So it sounds like it goes from the research down to the positioning, using that research to really narrow down the position of the college or university, or in this case, also the educational organization like New Frontiers, but to make sure that you position yourself well enough that you make those connections, you have those ambassadors that can speak for you, which will make that positioning go. It will double your own monetary resources, if not triple it. It'll make it go that much farther with the synergistic effects that it has by connecting with your audiences. Does everybody pretty much agree with that?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. So with that, with all those fading resources that you may be experiencing, how are you getting the most buzz, and what's giving you the most overall bottom line results for you? We'll go ahead and start with Kevin this time.
Well, I'm very fortunate that up here in Canada, I work at one of the top schools considered in Canada. The most recent Maclean's magazine rankings put us as the #1 comprehensive university in Canada. So I'd say that would certainly be definitely a help for us from a marketing perspective. Certainly easier when you're sitting at the top or towards the top. So. From our perspective, again, still being relatively new at the university here, we're doing a lot of things right and a lot of things well across the institution. And one of the challenges that I see though is that it's still very much fragmented, and we got a lot of good stuff that's happening, but it's not really a cohesive voice moving forward. So that's definitely something that we're working towards. We're making a lot of great headway in that respect. And I can only see us getting stronger, which is definitely a good place to be. As far as other things that are what's getting buzz, I mean, we definitely know that looking at the tactics and strategies that can reach our audience, again from a student marketing communications perspective, we're looking at ways that we can reach out. So definitely via social media, we're putting a lot more emphasis on video as a marketing tactic. We just launched a new recruitment video today that we're hoping really goes far for us. So those are some of the key pieces. Again, thinking specifically about the audience that you're wanting to go after. In our instance, it's primarily the student market, which allows us to be a lot more focused in what we're doing. So definitely working well for us, and hope to be #1 again next year.
comes from just, again, kind of a different version of the same thing I was mentioning earlier. More local interactions. We try to get involved with local media and blog posts, putting ourselves out there as experts in our field. There's a lot of people who do things similar to what we do, as there are for other members of the panel. I think that a layman could just kind of clump us together and say we're in education, or we're in post-secondary education. In my field specifically, people would refer to us as tutors. It's a lot more than that. So kind of separating ourselves out from the pack and highlighting what it is we do specifically on some of these mediums is critical. We also try to participate as often as we can on university-sponsored panels and conversations of that nature. So a lot of it is word of mouth in many respects, which tends to kind of create a groundswell. But we found a lot of success with the blogs as of late, and also a video campaign, something we are also pursuing in the next month or so, because I feel a little sheepish that I don't have one yet in 2013, almost 2014. It's kind of, I think, difficult to exist and be competitive without that. So as one piece of a larger strategy.
Jason?
I think that there's no silver bullet, and there never has been in the marketing world. But one thing that's really changed the dynamic on our campus is a couple years ago, we launched a full content marketing strategy. And with a university as large as Texas A&M is, we have 10 colleges, 50,000 students. We had a lot of different messages going out on a daily basis. And we had trouble kind of standing out of the noise. What does Texas A&M stand for? What is our major initiatives? What's the impact that we're having on our constituents in the state of Texas? So we launched a full content marketing strategy that includes all of our units across campus. Every month we have a specific theme, a specific impact to the state of Texas that we're pushing, and then we're aggregating content from around the university to support these themes. In other words, it's a university editorial calendar for our entire school, and it's been groundbreaking in how we think. And it's not necessarily just pumping out all kinds of different press releases on a daily basis. It's really looking strategically about what messages do we want to push forward about Texas A&M. And sometimes we tend to forget that with the advent of social media and technology today, we have the ability to take our message and to promote it directly to our key audiences through our own channels. And we're really maximizing our own media inventory, and through that content marketing strategy, we're starting to think of ourselves as a media company. And it's been transformative for us, and we have a lot of institutions around the country calling us to see, hey, what are you doing and how are you doing it?
And Claudia?
Well, I think what I would add to that is some of the same bedrocks of marketing, that you have to get your message out consistently, both graphically and editorially, if you will, enough times for someone, number one, to notice, and number two, to care. And I think as we've become the social media / Starbucks, everybody's going to take their information, get it from a different place or a different set of places, and assimilate it differently. It's not like when there was one local newspaper and 3 television stations. It's really more of a challenge to get that recognition, and then that Del Mar has kind of a silver bullet, if you will, right now, in that we teach commercial truck driving. And down here where we have the Eagle Ford Shale oil boom, there are individuals who can take our 3-week truck driving class and be able to go out and literally get a commercial truck driving job at $40,000, $50,000, $60,000. The way we teach that is by having tractor trailer rigs. And we just did a great branding based on our new line, and put it on the side of our trucks. And you better believe when those trucks are rolling down the highway, we get a lot of interest. Some we would not have necessarily thought of if there hadn't been the convergence of a new medium, if you will, the side of a truck, and the opportunity to take what's been a really successful brand and put it on wheels.
Dreams delivered on the side of a truck definitely has a good ring to it.
Particularly when your brand is dreams delivered.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that tagline. A lot of you have mentioned social media recently, just in the last couple questions here. How are you guys portraying your brand on social media? And I'll go ahead and let whoever wants to chime in on this one.
I'll start. No one, if it's okay. So it's really twofold for us at New Frontiers in Learning. One is sharing content, original content that we create, and the other side is sharing concepts that relate to our general our approach and our thesis. So putting ourselves out there as a thought leader in our section of the field. The reason that we utilize social media is because it's free. I mean, that's not true. Free, and because it has a global reach. So while we're focused for the most part as a local entity, we don't see the need, if at no extra cost, to spread our message globally. So that's kind of how we plant seeds around before we're ready to really dig our roots in to other regions. But the fact, when this started to become like a thing that you couldn't avoid a couple, however many years ago, social media became pretty relevant. I couldn't get over the fact that it's not about what I like, and I personally, I'm a Generation Xer, I think they call us, Generation X they're calling us now. I was just ahead of the curve when this kind of came out, but I got involved in it not because I was interested in sharing, what I had for lunch. It's more about the fact that it's 2 billion people can't be wrong, right? It's not about what my preference is. It's about how are they accessing information these days, and I can't avoid them unless I do so at my own risk and that of my business, and my brand. So that's kind of why we get into it, and we try to utilize it. I know there's more we can do with it. There's better strategies we can employ. There's more content we can share. But for right now, we're doing it the best we can, with an eye towards keeping our ear to the street and what's out there. What are the best practices in this field? Those are my 2 cents.
Anybody else want to join in?
Yeah, I will. I think from a social media standpoint, you have to be very authentic and be true to your brand. And a lot of times, people jump into social media and not have a true strategy. But for us here at Texas A&M, we are very explicit that we use our social media inventory to engage and promote the community of spirit that we have on our campus. And so many times, we think about just one-way communication with social media, but really social media provides people an opportunity to have to be a part of your brand, to engage with your brand. And so many times we think of social media as just another marketing tool, but it's really not. It's an engagement tool. So I think it has to be authentic. I think it has to be relevant, and it has to also be consistent with your entire brand voice. You can't be snarky and funny on social media if your brand's more conservative and traditional based. And I see that's an area where I see a lot of brands, kind of not using social media well when there's not a lot of consistency with their brand voice across all their media channels.
I think I would agree with that. We're doing the basics of Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We do a lot of videos for YouTube, and we allow individuals outside of this office to have input into that. And the rest of them, as the new things are emerging, I'm looking to my staff members to kind of keep me up to speed with what is coming down the pike, what is going to be the next big thing, knowing that with all the proliferation of new social media options, we can't possibly do a good job of them all. So we want to make sure we're targeting those we're doing.
Excellent responses from everybody. Kevin, did you want to?
Yeah, just very quickly, I'll weigh in as well. I agree. that thinking about strategically where you want to be, and picking the areas that you can do and do well rather than spreading yourself too thin. Absolutely. From our perspective, again, working with the student audience primarily, it's fantastic for us that we're able to engage with them. We're able to really see the trend as far as where our students are occupying, which spaces they're occupying in social media, and so really doing some great things. We've got a team member here who is amazing as far as the engagement. I was just reading a couple tweets this morning from last night, about students raving about the engagement that our social media accounts have with potential students. So really good things that we're seeing happen there, and that we're definitely wanting to build on. But we're also looking to expand, and again, realizing that this is a global market. We're starting to expand into some of the international social media channels as well. This is something that we can't ignore, and can't just be happy with our Facebook and Twitter page. We realize that this allows us to reach out into new markets, and so this is definitely something that we're moving forward with.
Doing social media and doing it well seems to be the theme. You don't want to just go into it and spread yourself too thin. Don't go after the shiny object. I know that's kind of a cliche in higher ed marketing right now, or in education marketing right now, that social media, you just don't want to go after it just with not utilizing it very well and just posting willy-nilly whatever you have. I know we're kind of running out on time here, so I'll kind of cram in one last question. What is the biggest challenge your institution's brand has faced recently, and how are you working to overcome it? This will be our last question, and we'll start with Daniel, please.
So for me, it's actually, sadly, it's pretty easy. We're a new organization, so for us, it's proving ourselves every single day. We're up against, the folks on this panel, for the right reasons, are all, well regarded, and they've had many, many years to prove themselves, and through right and wrong, to kind of learn the right way to communicate their message over the years, and there's brand recognition locally and beyond. For us, it's about continuing to develop our brand recognition, recognizing that we can do 1,000 things correctly. If we do one thing wrong, we risk isolating ourselves and kind of, turning away an individual who will tell 5 of their friends, and then 6 people will never call us again. So it's important for us to continue to stay on the path, and to really hit the streets, both physical streets and the online portals, to make sure that people understand what it is we're doing and hold us in high regard, both from a perspective of how we present ourselves, and also, of course, how we actually provide, how we actually do what we say we do. That's our biggest challenge. It's one that I look forward to every day. So I wouldn't look at it as a bad challenge, but it is a challenge nonetheless.
Thank you. Jason?
Yeah, I think our biggest challenge is that that intersection of athletics brand and academic brands. We have one brand here at Texas A&M, but we have a Heisman Trophy winner, Johnny Manziel, who is a transcendent student athlete on the football field, and he's also become a celebrity as well. So our challenge is brand balance, because it's really easy for Texas A&M to be all about one person right now. So we've had a lot of conversations on our campus and really across our alumni and key constituents, reminding them that our brand is not built by one person. Brands are built by a series of moments that, in our case, have happened over 137 years. And yes, I mean, you have ups and downs, and you have good days and bad days for a brand. But in the brand building business, you really have to take the long-term view and to look at, hey, we may have some good days and some bad days, but what direction are we going into? What is our brand balance right now? And then sometimes we may have to step back and turn the knobs a little bit and increase some aspects of our brand and decrease others. So I think that's the big challenge that we have right now. It's a great challenge to have a great position to be in, but how do we get that a balance so we can achieve and communicate the right messages at this point.
Thank you. Claudia?
Well, I think, Travis, what we see, community colleges by design and by mission are supposed to be driven by the needs of their individual communities. And as we spend more and more time looking toward how we're going to provide workforce development types of training, it's not necessarily going to be the 16-week semester, 3 times a week or 2 days a week or something like that in a classroom setting. It's going to be something very non-traditional. It may be 4 weeks. It may be a year and a half, depending on exactly what our market niche for that particular career area needs. And so how we make sure our brand, number one, isn't constrained by those legislators and those donors and those community leaders who still think we're only going to be doing the traditional semester-based instruction, and still make sure we are reaching those newer audiences. Like we just finished a new brochure for parents of individuals, and those parents may not necessarily be native English speakers. So we're trying to tell those parents what they can expect for their young person when they come to Del Mar College, and we'll be talking about such things as being a safe community, being a community that is going to deliver marketable job skills and that may not be in the traditional college arena, if you will. So how we keep that brand in a way that works for our individual that we have, it is so varied. Sometimes they say community colleges are supposed to be all things to all people, and then when we have to be spread across all media, it kind of sometimes gets dazzling.
And Kevin?
Yeah, so again, I think I've probably mentioned this before, but from being in a relatively new institution, a new role, I definitely see like there's good things happening, but I still see the silos that are represented, and I know that's one of the biggest challenges for a brand to break down, especially some of those established ones. And our school's been around for 50 years, so we've got some people who've been doing good things, and the way they've been doing it has worked. But we're able to show through some of the collateral that we're building and through some of the victories that we're having that we can do something in a concerted effort that helps move the institution forward, and we're getting people on board. People are slowly but surely coming on board, and I'm starting to see kind of the shift that things are happening, and it's very encouraging because I know in higher education people can really get ingrained in their ways. So to start seeing some of those opinions and attitudes start to shift and starting to see people come together, that is a very encouraging sign. So definitely a challenge, but something that we see as an opportunity moving forward as well.
And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you guys really quick for kind of a couple minutes, a minute or two of free-for-all. If there's anything you'd like to add, I'd ask that you keep it brief so we could wrap it up. If you have anything that you'd like to say in closing, go ahead and mention anything.
I'd like to thank the panelists for this opportunity. I think that you guys are doing great work. Your insights are really helpful for me as I kind of think about where I'm going next. And I look forward to more communication and hope I have been and hope I can be helpful to you in the future. And thank you for this opportunity.
I echo that. I think in our business, the things that haven't changed is what we do and why we do it. What is changing practically every day is how, when, and where we do it. And it's just important that we stay connected to each other through avenues like this, Travis, and thank you for putting this together, to allow us to share across the educational medium for what all's going on and who's doing what.
Yeah. From my perspective, I've got to say I've been a big fan of Higher Ed Live since it launched a couple of years ago, and just so happy to finally be here, and with a great panel as well. It's a great opportunity. to have learned from some of the cases and what some of you folks are doing at your institutions within your organizations. It's a great opportunity, and working with Travis and EMG and just seeing what they're doing in the educational field has been fantastic. So thanks for the opportunity. It's been great to be here.
And my parting words will be true to your brand. And I think that one thing in higher ed is we tend to try to look at, want to be like other schools and other universities and be like a certain set of peers. And sometimes it gets lost in that, who are we? What do we stand for? What are we about? So I encourage everyone to be true to your brand and accentuate what you're about. And there's a lot of groupthink that sometimes happens that, hey, we just need to be like University X, but and sometimes we lose your uniqueness as a brand. So that would be my parting thought is be true to your brand and be proud of who you are, and promote it each and every day that you can. And Travis, thanks for putting this together. It's great to put names with faces and have an opportunity to dialogue. It's a great organization, and I'm so proud to have been participating in it over the past couple of years.
Some great parting words. Thank you very much. I have some closing words of my own. As I mentioned earlier, these are all participants of the International Grandmaster Award. Jason Cook is the 2012 winner. Claudia Jackson is the 2011 finalist. Kevin Grott was a judge for 2012, and Daniel Koffler was a nominee last year and a potential nominee this year. I believe I saw something come across my email already. So in all, it's a detailed process that determines the next prestigious international grandmaster. It's an impressive achievement to be nominated, be a judge, become a finalist, and ultimately be named EMG's Inter Grandmaster. They are nominated by their colleagues, professionally reviewed by their peers, and supported by their stakeholders. In closing, this has been a wonderful hour, so thank you to the four of you. Thank you for your insights. It was a pleasure chatting with all of you. And I want to thank you again. I also want to reiterate that if you or your education branding colleagues could be the next 2013 International Brandmaster, of course you won't know unless you nominate at emgonline.com/2013-nominees, or you can go to emgonline.com and look for the Brandmaster link on the left. Nominations close on Friday, December 13th. Thank you for everyone who's joined me today, and have a great rest of your day. Join us next Thursday at our regular time, 7 p.m. Eastern, on Higher Ed Live. Kyle James will talk SEO for the Modern College Newsroom. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. Take care.